In this video, we're going to discuss session variables, and session variable is a very powerful and useful feature and tool in Corta, and we're about to see why. And in this case, we'll learn how to use it in the dashboard for a table. There are many uses for the session variable. We'll just talk about one in this case, and the session variable will store the total population of the 50 states of the United States, which is 320 something million. But once we store that number in the session variable, what we'll do is actually add another column to our US states table in our dashboard here, which will actually use a formula to display the relative proportion of each individual state's population relative to the total population. So it'll just be the percent of each for each state's population that relative to the total population. And it's useful information to have, and we'll see how easy it is just by using a session variable and a quick formula builder. So we can also accomplish this by using just a straight up formula, but the problem with that is in case we want to change a value, a specific value, we'll have to change that value for each and every insight. But basically, it's useful to use a session variable because that value is stored in one place in that session variable, and if we change it for there in that session variable, it'll change in all cases. That's the usefulness for it for using a variable. So in this case, we'll use an external variable, and if we just click on the top right icon, we see add new variable. We'll give it a name, total population, because that is the number we want to store in this new variable. And data source, we don't have to really worry about that right now. We'll just use sales. And query, we want to select, we'll type in select that number, which represents total population from dual. And if we test this, testing variable, so yes, it returned that number, and it has been, so it's stored in that session variable right there. If we save it, there we go. Our total population session variable is in front of us, and it is ready to be used in our dashboard. So we'll go back to dashboard, open up US states, and we will now create a new column utilizing that session variable. And in this example, we'll see why it's so powerful and useful. So we'll click on Analyze, and we'll add a new formula so that a new column is also added. So we'll open that up. We'll change the formula name to percent of US population, because that is what each entry in the column will represent for the state. So the formula we're gonna actually, so we'll have to build the formula. And the thing is, we want to convert our session variable into a long, because we actually, the way we stored it, it's stored as a string. So we want to call that total population session variable. So there it is. It's stored as a string, but this this notation right here changes it into a long, because we're going to use that as a divisor. So because we're going to divide each individual state population by this total population, so we need to make it into a long first. And that's what we've done here. And we can add population into the mix. So this represents the population of each and every state, individual state in the United States, and we'll add a divisor right there. And so this is our formula, and we'll just add some parentheses for order of operation purposes, and multiply by 100, so it's the percent, not necessarily a decimal value. And if we click done, we see that it has successfully implemented both the formula and the session variable. And so all of the states have a column that shows the percent of US population that that state retains. And so for example, for California, it has 12.2% of the United States population. That's quite a lot, but this information is very useful for us. And so we see how session variable made this so very easy to implement, and there are many more uses that you could think of and for session variable, but in this case, this is what we could do with it.